Well, hello there, everybody. Louise Eddington, Cosmic Owl Astrology. I am back again with another take on Jupiter in Cancer. Only this time it's just me, and there's some slides and some dates and some charts, but I'm going to go through them. I've kind of organized it so I don't get too rambly, hopefully. But please, please, please leave me a comment. Please subscribe. Please like. Please hit that bell if you want to know when I upload new content. And don't forget, my book is on the way. I just got an amazing foreword to go in the book from astrologer Steve Judd. And he called me almost a cyberpunk princess of astrology. Anyway, I love it. So, anyway, let's dive in. I'm just going to share the slides and just go through them bit by bit. So some of it is heavy on charts, but I'm not going to linger on those too much. I just want to share the charts for those that like them. So I've called this Jupiter in Cancer, reclaiming the, am I recording? Yes, reclaiming the womb of the world. Sorry, I just had to make sure I was doing that before I present. So here we go. So this will give you the dates, if you want to, you can screenshot the slides, whatever, I don't care. Anyway, so I was going to do this as a paid presentation, but I really have not got time to do that. So you get it free. So there you go. So on the day that Jupiter moves into Cancer as well, because Jupiter is my guiding planet. So here we go. So the archetypal flavor of this transit. Cancer is Jupiter's exaltation. So I don't love these old terms, as you know, but Jupiter is at home here. Jupiter likes this sign, but of course, everything has its shine and shadow. But because Jupiter, the great benefic, rules growth, trust, vision, and divine timing, and Cancer is fertile ground for those things when rooted in emotional safety, ancestral memory, and soul nourishment. So we've had Jupiter in Aries for a while. That was bold individual quests, and Jupiter in Gemini flirted with scattered ideas and exciting exchanges and some chaos. Jupiter in Cancer brings it all home, literally and energetically. It's asking you, what truly holds you? What have you inherited? And what will you pass on? So, a couple of charts. Again, if you're not into the astrology, just don't get too excited about the charts because you can see more detail on the charts in the interview I did that live streamed on this channel. I did that with Sue Minan and Laura, anyway, yesterday on Talk Cosmos. But here is the moment that Jupiter ingresses into the sign of Cancer, 5:03 p.m. Eastern. I've actually done this for the USA because the USA is going through so much, and I don't like that Mars is the Scorpio rising and Mars is up at the top of the charts. I do think we are going to see more of a rise in nationalism initially, but it's not the end of the journey going through it, right? And this square to Saturn is quite significant, and square to Neptune. And Mercury is there too. And this is the house of relationships, of love affairs, but also joy and taking risks. And this is the house of shared resources. So it's a bit of a stressful ingress. And here's the chart of the USA, though. Okay, and I'm not going to go into too much detail. I don't think we can really predict where all of this it will end up because we have so much change happening. But also other things I note as Jupiter moves in. Uranus is almost at the last degree of Taurus. Uranus will be moving into Gemini on July the 7th, so another big shift. And of course, Saturn and Neptune are both in Aries, but both are going to retrograde back into Pisces before they are finally in Aries. So we've got some revisiting to do because Uranus will also dip in and out. But Jupiter is firmly in Cancer as of 5:03 p.m. Eastern, 3:03 p.m. my time. Adjust for where you are. So I just wanted to put the USA chart out here because the USA is a Cancer country. So you see immediately Jupiter will cross the Venus, relationships, values, money, and then we'll have a Jupiter return, and then it gets really interesting later. We'll look at the retrograde dates and degrees later, but Jupiter is going to station retrograde conjunct the Mercury of the USA and station direct pretty much on the Sun of the USA. And there's another big aspect that happens on the Sun of the USA coming up. So I will mention them. But again, I don't want to get too chart heavy here. But let's just, and it's all also the retrograde is happening pretty much opposing the Pluto in the USA chart. So this is going to be another transformative journey for the USA, as if we didn't know what we're in the middle of. So, possible patterns. We could have a collective craving for home safety and soul roots, sometimes expressed through heart-centered revolutions, other times through protectionism or nationalism, and we could see both. Major expansions in rights related to family, identity and belonging, especially queer, racial and cultural. But as well as the expansion, we can always also have the initial contraction first. Watch for that. Ancestral reweaving and reclamation. Cancer holds memory. Jupiter brings opportunity to grow beyond inherited trauma while honoring lineage. And the shadow, emotional inflation, overprotectiveness, nationalism, or fear-based policies. And again, I think we're going to see both to a greater or lesser degree. So just some brief times through history. We talked quite a lot about this on a couple of other calls, but here I'm not going to read through everything. But, you know, we had Pope Francis in the last Jupiter through Cancer, and now we have this new Pope, Leo, who is also quite Jupiterian in his boldness, even though he has still said that family is between a man and a woman. But, you know, Beyonce's back in the news again, but we're going to hear a lot from this Pope, I think, through this, because he is Cancerian in Jupiter and Cancerian in nature. And Jupiter is kind of the Pope in a way. It's the Hierophant in the tarot. We did have the overturn of the DOMA of Defense of Marriage Act back then as well in 2013. So you can see these themes about what is a family and things are up again. And also Black Lives Matter was born back then. And we're seeing, you know, immigrants and minorities being targeted right now, particularly in the USA. So 2001 to 2002 was the last one. 9/11 happened before the transit, but the impact was carried through in the transit, with Homeland Security being born, and all that discussion about what we do to protect the homeland. Jupiter in Cancer came from that. We also had the axis of evil speech, which was the Cancer shadow, a bit about protecting the homeland and fear-based aggression. And we can see perhaps a lot of where we're at was seeded then. However, I think this is a different transit because of the aspects. So we'll see. Euro currency launched a new economic home and a rise in home values, you can see. Back in 89 to 90, the Berlin Wall fell. A massive symbol of division, dissolving. Okay, so and about collective reunion. The Eastern Bloc crumbled, and there was what were called velvet revolutions. So, and the World Wide Web was born, a new global home. Anyway, you see the things. I don't want to spend too long in these things. You've got the dates, you can go and look up and discover more themes, because nothing is going to be exactly the same anyway. The pressure cooker, these are major threads throughout it, and this is where you'll see some charts. But the first pressure cooker is almost immediate. So June the 15th, we have a square to Saturn, and June the 18th is a square to Neptune. This is a major dream meets discipline moment. Idealism, fear, and realism collide. Jupiter wants nurturing, expansion, but Saturn and Neptune in Aries demand self-initiation and soul truth over sentiment. These are first quarter squares from the conjunction at 0 Aquarius, the great mutation. That was when Saturn and Jupiter met at 0 Aquarius in an air sign. We had one previous conjunction in an air sign in 1980, but in 2020 they met at 0 Aquarius, and all Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions for 200 years will be in air signs. That's why it's called a mutation. We're moving from Earth into air, which is innovation, communication, and we're seeing results or challenges to those seeds right now. And I think, again, we're seeing both, because that was Reaganism and Thatcherism, and that's a lot of where we're at now. The inequality and things was seeded then. And again, I don't think it's going to hold. Other kind of phrases I kind of came up with for this square, particularly for the square to Saturn. The obvious one for Jupiter-Saturn is expansion and contraction, or versus. So this is kind of like birth pressure, because it's an opening square, right? Jupiter is the faster moving planet. So the cycle that began back in 2020 is now opening up. So this is like a baby crowning, and Saturn's not letting it be easy. There's themes of emotional resilience and self-reliant action, but not also becoming too like blocked off from your emotions and feelings as well. Resilience is a funny thing, but Jupiter in Cancer is very much about looking after yourself, lots of self-care first, so that you can be more resilient. Soulful yearning meets strategic boundaries is another one. So I think we talked on the interview yesterday about Saturn bringing that steadying hand to the sometimes over-expansive Jupiter. Rebuilding safety from scratch. I think that may be a big theme because of what's happening in the world. Sacred shelter versus lone frontier, Saturn in Aries. It's like, I'm on my own. If it is to be, it's up to me. And yet we need this sacred shelter, this sense of belonging, this sense of home, whether it's the physical home, your family of choice, or your family of birth. And the family table versus the warrior's path. Well, it's not versus, it's not and or. It's balancing both. It's bringing it in so that you have that nurturing space and that supports you on your warrior's path, right? An emotional inheritance meets individuation. Now that is a big one, because we are individuating in a lot of ways. And so we are addressing our emotional inheritance and archetypal themes and ancestral themes. Roots and routes. How do we honor where we came from and still move forward in a different way? So growth is possible, but will you let go of the old skin? This is an initiatory square, the first test of the air mutations long game. Jupiter says nurture, Saturn says discern. The square demands new foundations for belonging that don't regress to the past or abandon embodied leadership. All right, onwards. Some other major aspects. Oh, I've got that chart twice. Well, just to tell you again that we are a Cancer country. Oh, and I will point out, and it's good it's there, because the sun is at 13 Cancer. We have a really big conjunction on August the 12th. Yeah. Jupiter and Venus conjunct the sun of our sun, Sirius. On the Astro Priestesses Astrology channel, Divine Harmony did an interview with Kaylin Castell about this conjunction. She has studied that fixed star more than I have, but Sirius is the sun of our sun. It's the most fortuitous star. And in August, Venus and Sirius will be rising together in the east. Okay. And this is the heliacal rise of Sirius and Jupiter and Venus. The two benefics meet Sirius. So Sirius is the blazing soul star of higher will, guardianship, and multi-dimensional wisdom. Jupiter and Venus here suggest powerful openings in the heart to love, lead, and heal beyond lineage. But these are always an opportunity. Will we take it? Now then, at what I'm calling the Great Trine Portal, Jupiter and Saturn reach a hair's breadth of their first opening trine. We started immediately on June the 15th with this square to Saturn. By October and November, well, the end of October, through till December the 5th, the two dance in a sustained trine, even stationing retrograde at the exact same degree and minute, 25 degrees 9 minutes. That's just a few days apart. You'll see the charts in a minute. So this is another echo of that great mutation. So in this cycle of Jupiter through Cancer, we not only have the square, the opening square, we also have the potential of what's being birthed in the opening trine, which is a flowing aspect, creative aspect. So this is the opening trine of a 20-year and 200-year cycle. Think first bloom, foundations laid in 2020, get tested for coherence and offer a next layer of embodied manifestation through feeling, not force. There's a difference though with this one, I'll tell you in a minute. It's rare, powerful, and a harmonic moment of divine architecture through water signs because Saturn is back in Pisces by this point. So this is all emotion, all release, all cleansing. This is about dreams becoming emotional reality. Other keywords that we can do, by the way, the exact meeting of the trine will not happen until Jupiter is in Leo and Saturn is back in Aries. So we'll look at that in a minute. But key words for this time where they don't quite meet exactly, but they do speak to each other. This is soul composting. This is breakdown of karmic sediment, making space for creative leadership. This is visionary maturation. This is the return of the wise heart. And this is emotional infrastructure upgrade, cleansing myths, claiming your sovereignty, co-creation with the invisible, legacy repair through embodied presence, the discipline of care, the grace of structure. From shelter to radiance, Cancer to Leo is a journey from inner safety to regal self-expression. So this trine that's not exact at the end of this year is a preparation portal. Water clears the pipes, softens the bones. By the time of the exact fire trine in 2026, we're stepping into a new choreography of action and authenticity, tempered by compassion and cosmic timing. And incidentally, the exact trine in 2026 is at 13 degrees of fire signs, the number of the witch or the goddess. Anyway, I just wanted to show you the timing. So on November the 11th, Jupiter will station retrograde, and that is at, that's 2909. I put the wrong thing. I should have highlighted this. Jupiter stations retrograde November the 11th on, interesting, that's 0909 too. But anyway, at 25 degrees, 9 minutes of Cancer. Just 17 days later, Saturn stations direct and starts to move back towards Aries at 25 degrees and 9 minutes of Pisces. So these two are in an exact unbroken flow, trine aspect by degree and minute for those stations. And of course, that means because they're both stationing very close to each other, they are in orb of this aspect from October the 30th to December the 5th. And that is very tight. That is a big cleansing period. Wow. Now then, other aspects, slightly less impactful, but still impactful. September the 3rd, Jupiter will trine the North Node in Pisces. This is destiny whispering through the waters. Deep healing and future vision comes when we release Virgo and perfectionism and open to divine imperfection and trust to do the right thing. On September the 12th, Mercury, Venus and Sun all interact near the Virgo South Node. And that's through September, October, really, as Jupiter makes an aspect of opportunity, a sextile to the Sun. So Jupiter, in that occasion, is magnifying the karmic storylines, especially where care, over-functioning, and codependence meet personal power. And then other spicy points. These are spicy. We have repeated squares to Chiron and Eris. And these are the dates: October 23rd, December 21st, and June of 2026. Because of Jupiter's retrograde, Jupiter will keep digging up the roots of injustice, unhealed rage, and distorted hero myths. With Eris involved, expect righteous table flipping moments and demands for truth and equity. Other aspects, we have some oppositions in January of 2026, oppositions to Venus, the Sun, Mars, and Mercury in Capricorn. This is a time of full-on polarity checks. How are we holding power, Capricorn, in ways that still nourish the people, Cancer? Family systems, government, and corporations may all feel the pressure to realign, please. Core themes then. We're going to get a rise of protective healing, creating safety for the next phase of the world. Ancestral reckonings, both literal and metaphorical. Lineage healing work might explode under this transit. Divine feminine expansion, Cancer as the great mother archetype. Jupiter amplifies our relationship to care, embodiment, and emotional intelligence. Eclipse echoes and sacred cycles tie in with what was seeded in July 2015, last Jupiter in Cancer, and what was initiated during the December 2020 conjunction. Mystic roots and revolution. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus will all be in new signs by summer of 2026, fully. A generational shift, more than a generational shift. the biggest cosmic upgrade of consciousness we've ever experienced. Jupiter in Cancer is the womb before the wave. What's being gestated now will feed the future. So gestate carefully. And that's it. That's my presentation. I was going to make it longer, as I said, and do a paid webinar, but I just don't have the time because I'm flying to the UK next week and I have a 2-day trip to Seattle before then to see my daughters for my daughter's boyfriend's graduation. So let's all go. So I'm trying to pile these out ahead of time. So I'm really happy that my ruling planet is moving into Cancer. That's not to say there won't be these challenges at first. Our sense of safety and security is being threatened by this rising protectionism and nationalism that's rising. But I still don't think it's going to stick. Much love.